Hey, I think we're actually live on Twitch now, too. If you're all waiting in the chat still patiently and you're wondering why we started so late, you already also know the answer. It was all Trevor's fault. Yes. We were trying to figure out what happened with the Twitch thing, and yeah, it just worked out that way. Ayo, yokoso, which means welcome. I'm Kenzo. Sometimes my friends call me the whip cracker, or maybe it's just the people here. They also call me GG. Yeah. Tonight, I'm really excited to introduce the loudest creator that I know, my friend, Alex, Too Loud Tech. Hello, sir.
I didn't want to be loud. What's up, guys? What's up, everybody?
He just had to do that with that introduction, you know? He just had to do that. And, of course, I'm joined by my wonderful co-host, who I could not do the show without.
Hey, I'm Clef. What's up?
Hey, Nelly.
Hey, it's Zach.
Thanks for that great introduction, Chingu. Tonight, we're talking special about kind of revisit on some Valve hardware because the whole community is abuzz about this thing. And it really stems from one article. But before we talk about that, I do want to tell you all that we are recording this live. So if you are happening to catch the replay, you're actually missing out on something really special. That's because after the live show, we have this after show, which gets pretty unhinged, which is why we're calling it Handhelds Unhinged. But of course, you can check that out if you come and check us out on Discord. You can talk to all these wonderful people, especially the super loud guy who is trying to be quiet for this podcast. Or you could also check out that content, which we plan to upload on Patreon. Don't worry, we're not one of those scummy corpos. All that's going to be free. It's just not stuff that we could probably live here on this platform because, you know, we'll probably get demonetized or in trouble for that. Make sure you check all that stuff out. All the links will be in the description for that. So let's talk now about the Valve stuff. Going back to this, if you've missed any of this, don't feel bad because it's really all coming from one article. If your entire YouTube home feed is filled with Valve is done or it's ruined by everything, it's from this article. And that is that Valve is basically saying that you might have to wait a little bit longer. And, you know, my friend here, Alex, also talked about this on the podcast that he hosts, Safe State Podcast, which you should definitely check out too. Talking about the Steam machine, the Steam frame, and the Steam controller, none of which we have now, nor do we have an actual final release date or even prices. I mean, surely people are feeling some sort of way, right? I mean, Alex, you talked about this at length already. Has your opinions or thoughts changed in the last 2 months, especially since this article?
If there's a delay on the Steam machine, I think that they should just release the frame and the controller already. Let us have at that and to deal with the machine as time goes on. I know there's a big deal with, you know, hardware. Like we're aware of the situation. SSDs are going up, RAM's going up, everything's going up. They don't want to shoot themselves in the foot and put out, you know, pricing that's too low for them. So I think at the end of the day, like if the frame's ready, if the controller's ready, the community's welcoming to that. So let's get it. Let's get it on. I know I'm ready to have fun with a Steam frame. I'm not really a VR guy, so you guys actually been the ones to talk me into, you know, jumping on this ship, and I want to get it on. I want to have fun. I want to try it. It's gonna happen, right? Like, I mean, they told us that the beginning of 2026, and then, you know, now later it's coming out now that it's gonna be like the first half of 2026. So just set your expectations. I also think, you know, there's a reason why Steam has been really tight-lipped on the pricing of these devices, and that's because they don't know. The market is fluctuating. It's up and down. And we talked about this the other night. We're all good friends here. And, you know, looking at the price of SSDs that we just bought 3 months ago, and it's done over 100% increase. You know, as a company, you have to be aware of those types of situations. So I think if the frame is ready and the controller is ready, release that. I know they want to release the 3-piece, but we're cool with, you know, the controller and the frame for now.
Thank you for sharing your thoughts on that. I know that it's disappointing at the very least, not just to you, but I know Clef has some big thoughts, especially about the frame too.
So I'm going to be a buzzkill tonight, for sure.
I thought you were saving for the after show.
No. I'm going to be the life of the party for the after show.
Okay, let's do it. Let's go.
Maybe it's my corporate background, but nothing that comes from that article really surprised me. And I understand where people are maybe frustrated, but the way that Valve spoke never made me think that we would get this thing by March. That was never my impression. I understand that maybe some of the words had people that are excited for it expect something like that. But to me, it's just they're not really changing. They're just maybe slightly adjusting the way that they speak. But to me, at least, I'm not surprised by anything in that article. Now, I could still agree with Too Loud. If they have certain components or parts or pieces or devices, whatever we want to call them, ready, then sure, people are excited for good reasons. Valve has a great following, a great reputation. They also have brought it hard in the last couple of years with hardware. So I'm also excited to see, what it's going to be all about. If they got to cook. Because if there's a company I trust, it's Valve. So I'm not too concerned. The buzzkill comes here. Guys, I've seen a lot of thumbnails. To be honest, I haven't had a whole lot of time to watch videos on the matter, but I see a whole lot of thumbnails talking about price and, people ready to pull their hair, and it was never going to be cheap. The amount of hopium and copium that we've seen since Valve released the announcements, and I was there fighting tooth and nail to be like, no, the Steam machine is not going to be $500-$600. It's going to be very, very close to 4 digits. In fact, I remember an episode a couple of weeks back where I was really holding my ground super hard. So to me, nothing changed on that point either. I understand that the whole landscape from an international point of view has shifted. Of course, it has. It's still going to be expensive. It was already going to be expensive without the shift. So, yeah, that's my take. Sorry to be the buzzkill.
Well, you've killed the mood for me. What Nelly, is this thing going to cost the 6 Steam Decks now? Did you see the article?
I did see the article, and you know what? I'm not surprised either. Of course, there's delays. There's delays with everybody right now, and for us to think that there wasn't going to be delays with Valve with how much they anticipate this thing to sell, of course, there's going to be delays. I think the biggest thing is, they're trying to push it to the first half of the year, which will probably be around the June. It'll probably push right to the edge there, and that might even just be closer to pre-orders, and fulfillment might be later. At this point, I wouldn't be shocked if fulfillment's in that second half of the year. But like everybody else has mentioned so far, if you have some stuff ready, why not just put that out there? And I can understand wanting to have packages and deals and things like that. But who's really great at knowing what you've bought and giving you discounts when there's packages or bundles for different games because you already own one? Well, it's Valve. Valve is really good at knowing when you've bought something and giving you a discount on that item when it's bundled with something else or whatever, right? So if we have controllers available now, which honestly, we really want the controller, I think, off the bat, if we could all have the controller, we'd grab one right away. Well, Valve, there's no parts on the controller that are delayed as far as I know. There's no RAM, there's no memory in there. Maybe there is some sort of memory in there, proprietary, I don't know. I don't think so, though. So why not just release the controllers? And then if there's packages down the road, you already know how many controllers we've bought. Maybe people buy a bit more, because they've just spent a little bit of money now, and then they've saved up until 5 months from now when the pre-orders are open, 4 months from now when the pre-orders are open, and then they get a package deal for a couple more. Sure, great. Or they get a discount on that bundle because they've already bought the controllers, which again, great. But I think that's almost a missed opportunity to not give us some of that stuff now.
Yeah, that's actually very fair, especially about those bundles. But I know there was a limit because I had to go and rewatch the episode that we talked about this last time about 2 months ago with our friend of the channel, and who is on our Discord also. He's sharing all these kind of crazy deals. His name's Tech Guy Bo. Definitely go and check out his channel. He focuses mostly on laptops, but something he and Zach were on agreement with the controller was that, it can't be too much money. Do you still feel the same way about that, Zach? I know you like the hamburger sliders, but is this article like a nothing burger?
The controller, I don't know. It seems like I'm just going to forego it. It's just out of my price range. Personally, somebody will buy it, but I don't know. If you're looking for me to have any optimism about any of this, you're probably barking up the wrong tree right now. I'm basically in the same boat as everybody else. Valve is in a position where, honestly, if they really wanted to, they don't have to launch any of this stuff. And that money train's just going to keep rolling in for them. They are absolutely just going to sit, buy time, wait. You know, they don't want to botch this launch. I mean, we saw what happened the first time Steam Machines happened. It was a cosmic failure. I don't see this launch being super soon, and I don't see it being super cheap either. The way things are going, it's just prices are going up, and we just kind of have to deal with it, unfortunately, unless, God forbid, you know, something shifts in the market. Maybe it comes back down, and, you know, it's that whole, like, waiting to buy, waiting to sell. Valve's just waiting for that moment, and then they're like, okay, go. Perfect part of the scale. So, but hey, silver lining, we'll probably still get it before GTA 6.
But you won't be able to play in 4K because that was unrealistic.
Wow.
You're definitely not going to play in 4K.
Oh my goodness. Okay, well, yeah, it's I'm just gonna say this: it's dark times when I'm the optimistic one on this panel, and unfortunately for me, I don't even feel that all that optimistic. With Zach's really nice intro there to Golden, these prices are not golden. If you've tried to buy any RAM recently, you've been looking at SSD prices, you're probably going to be pretty sad or pretty dejected. And just as a reference here, this is the article that we're talking about, which I think you would be in the right mindset if you're looking at this, especially for the first time, that this is a nothing burger or that they're just trying to string people along. It's almost like, I don't know, a certain company, which we're going to talk about in the after show, they have this big, huge handheld with a 116 watt hour battery inside. They call it the Next 2, but that was announced 3 years ago. So is that no longer next? It's like present or something? I don't know. It seems like it's one of those responses where they just like have a boilerplate canned response. It's like, oh, well, you know, we have to watch where things are going. We're answering these questions about what's good it's going to do. Like, all of this stuff here could have been released 2 months ago. Realistically, this statement could have been released 2 months ago. For me personally, I think the one of the saddest and probably scariest part, and I wonder if Alex, because you talked about this pretty extensively on Safe State podcast, if you feel the same way, them changing the language target from first quarter to second half really has me concerned, particularly because there was some speculation, again, by our friend Tech Guy Bo, that maybe they were like hoarding a bunch of RAM chips. Maybe they were hoarding a bunch of, APUs and GPUs. Based on this statement in this article, I'm going to say they got nothing. They probably are still in the negotiation process. Maybe AMD isn't playing ball with them. And because of that...
Jump in for a second?
Yeah, of course.
So there was actually a statement from Lisa Su at AMD saying that Valve has everything they need as far as on their side, from the AMD side. They already have their chips. They already have the GPUs. It's not their side. They're ready for launch off of the AMD side. So it has zero, like they do have those ducks in a row. I believe the part that they are struggling with is the actual RAM chips and the SSDs.
I don't even think so. I don't even think so. To me, it's cornering a part of the market. And actually, Zach said it best. It's just not making this launch a monumental failure. And it's not only the Steam machine. There's also Steam Frame. They cannot mess this up. This is like one of the last standing pillars of PC VR. If this fails, PC, even though it is not a PC, chip that's in there, it is still going to be, in my opinion, considered as a PC VR headset. There's a lot riding on this. I don't think it's a question of hardware. I think it's a question of making sure they release at the right time, at the right price. And the truth is, even though I never expected it to be cheap, Internet was very loud. Internet made their intention very clear. So if I was Valve, I would do everything in my power to scrape as much as I possibly can, because if it's just a little too expensive, this could be a monumental failure, especially in a market where you can buy a handheld PC, dock it, and have just as good an experience, if not better.
But the thing with the frame, right, is like, how many Steam users are there? You don't need a Steam machine. Most users don't need a Steam machine. They don't have to have the Steam machine out on the market in order to pin that side of the VR things, right? Like there's millions of households with PCs running Steam right now. Even our handhelds are running Steam. Our 395 devices that are now being shipped and everybody's acquiring, or our Z13s like me and Nelly have, they're capable of pushing these things. Like the VR, they already have plenty of user base ready to use those. Actually, with machines that are outpacing the Steam machine by far.
Are we talking about the Steam frame here or the Steam machine?
The frame.
Here's a big thing with the frame that happened in between when Valve made the initial announcement and now. There has been, out of nowhere, a lot of rumors dropping about Meta working on a Quest 4. The only rumors we would hear is Meta is stepping out of VR, and suddenly they're here saying, no, we should have a Quest 4 ready by 2027. That's a big news.
They were talking about that a while ago, Clef. They were calling that puffin. Yeah, they were calling that puffin. It's been a while, man.
To be fair, right? Like we knew that would happen, right? Like Steam, Valve gets behind VR, and that's why I think they need to release it, because believe just on their announcement alone, that put gas under people's asses. Like, I'm sorry to say it like that. It lit a fire underneath companies, right? Like they're like, oh crap, so. Valve's getting in this. Like you best believe Mark's over there at Quest. Like, hey, we need to do something new. I don't know if HTC is going to get back in this game. I don't know if what's the company you have, GG, with the other headset? The Pimax. Yep, Pimax may feel the need to drop something new. Whoever's in this game is like, okay, if Valve's going to get behind this, maybe it's time for us to ignite. Maybe it's time for us to bring something new to the table. And then with Valve stating specs and things like that, like they're looking at these and they can easily imitate them, right? Like they're going to go ahead and I'm pretty sure they have people on their team that are or can be Valve developers, right? So now they can get a development kit in house. We know some of these companies overseas, they'll play whatever dirty games they have to in order to get a unit so that they can go ahead and take it down and look at what's inside of it and imitate it and make a new version of it or something more powerful or something competent to compete with it. So,
but they don't even have to worry about that. Meta has always been ARM SoC. Meta can utilize FEX just like Valve.
Well, absolutely. Yeah.
So the menace
I wasn't
is not
talking about Meta specifically there. I was more so talking about like the boutique headset manufacturers, as far as
I don't think they're a menace.
They're not.
Really, only Valve is.
They're not aiming for boutique. I mean, with the specs in the frame, they're not aiming for boutique. And what they stated before about aiming for Valve index pricing, which was $999, that's also not boutique. The companies that you mentioned, Pimax, some of the other ones out there like Big Screen, even Megane Superlight, from Shiftall, like those things are well over $1,000, like $1,500, $2,000, and generally those at the very least ship with QLED panels, typically micro OLED panels. Yeah, so it's not even the same like comparison. The only thing we can compare is their software stack or the software implementation there. But of course, people will make the comparison because of like the form factor, right? To clarify, like Meta had been working on, the next generation of like Quest headsets for a while already, but there wasn't really anything substantial in terms of what was presented other than Andrew Bosworth, who is their chief technical officer, and Zuckerberg has shown off like some, like prototype demo stuff. But like the point of all this is, I agree, this can, light a fire under their asses, but also I don't think that that's like a positive signal, because we've also simultaneously seen from big companies like Meta that doesn't withhold layoffs. Like there's a big article recently about them downsizing, Reality Labs, which is their big, VR like department. To me, like because as we talked about in that previous Steam hardware episode, Meta has been the one that's really like carrying the space for VR in particular. If they're bowing out, like clearly they've figured out that their model is not working. That doesn't, now to be clear, that doesn't mean Valve's model won't work, as we know, because there's such a massive library for it, right? And people are like literally paying to be on that platform versus like on, Quest headsets. They probably have to pay like a significant amount of money to have like a Batman exclusive VR game, a Deadpool exclusive VR game. But like my point to this is, I think that their pricing doesn't have to align with anybody else's because they have that kind of software advantage. So because of that, I don't think like we should realistically hold our breath in terms of like prices. I think it's going to be bad. And it sounds like this is the sentiment that's being shared here on this panel.
I don't think anybody's going to argue the pricing and honestly, the like release schedule for Valve, like I don't see a world where they release one item or this item that, like, you know, if they only have parts of it ready. The whole time they've been talking about everything. And God forbid something between now and when something else is actually finally ready to launch. Well, what if I have shortage of this? Now I can't bundle it with this thing I'm ready to launch. Like, they want to prioritize that bundle to get as much margin and get as much, you know, of that out of their ecosystem that they can pushed out to the consumer. So the first priority is going to be that bundle. So we're not going to see a launch until they are ready for every last piece of it.
I think that's a really great point that you're making that we're kind of overlooking. The fact that these things, they want these things to come together, right? Whether or not they sell it as a bundle for like pricing purposes to get people to buy them all, they've stated, that they want these things to all like coexist at the same time. And it probably realistically doesn't benefit them, or maybe they've done enough R&D to determine that, hey, we're not going to make enough money for it to matter if we just release the controller or if we just release the headset. Like, we want to release all these things together because I think I mentioned this on Safe State, Alex, that, you know, while the frame itself, I think, is not revolutionary to like the PC VR space, that combination with the Steam machine opens it up to the common casual user. If you can have your Steam machine like on your TV unit, and then you just pop on the Steam frame and it boots right up and connects pretty much seamlessly with the Steam machine, that's a way better experience than any like PC VR, you know, experience has been. And I know Clef can attest to that, being like, you know, a big OG VR user. It's so clunky sometimes. There's just like so many barriers to like jump through, right?
Yep, that is indeed the case.
If it's not easy, people don't want to use it. I think that's like the basic of it. Like, really, even for like VR headsets, if you're setting it up on PC, you're like, okay, turn on the desktop, like turn on the heads. It's just like, it's not convenient and it's not easy. Like, it is, it's people aren't patient enough. Like, if you turn on an old laptop now and you pull open a Windows Vista laptop or something, like, you feel like you're gonna lose it. Like, waiting for that thing to boot, because we just don't have the patience that we used to have. And so if it's not quick and easy, people just don't want to use it.
You're preaching to the choir, Nelly, because it's probably, I mean, think about this. Like, I'm thinking about myself, right? Like, how convenient Steam Cloud Saves is. But with the number of devices that you all play with, and many in our audience probably play with too, you've probably gotten that dreaded Steam Cloud Save error, and you're like, oh, get out of here with this. Whatever, I'm just going to play anyway. Because you know in the back of your mind that Steam's Cloud Save management will handle it. But what about like in the olden days, like you were just talking about with Vista and like, you know, Windows XP, even like, you know, even Windows 8, it was like you had to like be on that same single platform to access your saves. And then if you switch to anything else, even switch to a different PC, you're like, oh, you're kind of screwed. Like, oh, I have to manually migrate your saves. Like, that's horrible.
Yeah.
That's all.
Put in the floppy, get the data over, insert it into the next one. No,
yeah,
it's a different world now, like, for that stuff, and you want everything to be quick and easy, and for you to be able to trust the system, and like Valve does a really good job of that and making it easy.
You do want it to be easy, but I feel like I'm on a very different island than all of you guys. I agree with a lot of the things that you're saying, but I don't think that is at all why their decisions are going the way that they're going. If anything, this is going to be not a battle for hardware. Now, I'm not saying that Valve potentially could be... If I was Valve, what I would do is I would apply the old school selling consoles system to the frame, and I would cut profit, potentially even sell at a loss, because Valve are able to do that. They're able to set a foot in the ground for the money that's going to come 10 years from now. And then the Steam machine, at the very least, you want to offset that cost? Sure. But it's a battle of software. Let's not mistake that. It is 100% a battle of software. And I think that is why, and I disagree also, GG, with Meta. Yes, way back when there was a Meta Quest 4, and then like all the rumors were they're dropping it, there were the layoffs. We were basically being told it's over. Then all of a sudden it comes back, and it came back after Valve did that move. And I think that is because Meta is like, oh shit, we have a bunch of devices that are out there. We at least will make money with software down the road, many years to come. They are the menace to that ecosystem we built. They have to make sure that they don't let Valve take that away from them, because that's how they recoup on the next 10 years. So to me, it's 100% a battle of software. Valve is looking to increase their reach by having a lot of VR software. I don't see it any other way.
I mean, I agree with you, because I think that, Quest, no matter what, they're going to profit from Steam's push. Like it's going to happen. It's inevitable, right? Like as many Quest users are out there already. The people who believe in the ecosystem are highly invested into the ecosystem. That's why these companies do this walled garden approach, right? Where it's like you buy these games here and you only own them here. You can't use them elsewhere, right? If you're already heavily invested into the Quest ecosystem, you may feel more comfortable to stick with, I'll wait for the Quest 4.
Of course, because they have a storefront that you cannot get anywhere else. That's the strength of Meta. If you are in their ecosystem, you cannot get access to their software. I mean, I think there's a way with the Pico, but ultimately you are stuck to their ecosystem. And at the same time, you could say the exact same thing for Valve. This is the strength of Steam. How many years have we invested in our libraries? Like at this point, I think it's fair to say that we're all emotionally attached to the library that we've built over the years. A company like Valve that already has your heart, solid grip on your heart and your emotions, because you've invested so much time in your saves and the games you bought and the people you played with. Then they enter VR. Man, this is a big menace for Meta. They can't let that happen. So I don't think it's a question of hardware. I firmly believe it's a question of they're like literally gonna sweep the rug under our feet if we don't do something. And that's why Valve needs to be very, very strategic about how they release that. Because you have a great point, Nelly. Yes, I expect it's going to be easier, and this is the kind of thing that could have sway people to move over. And I also think that's why suddenly the rumors for Meta Quest 4 are back. Because Meta, they need to plant those seeds in people's head that are already in the ecosystem, that are looking for the next thing that is exciting for people who are invested in VR to think, oh, I thought we weren't getting a Meta Quest 4. Oh, we are now? How interesting. Well, I'm going to wait before I buy Valve just because I want to see what anyways.
If we talk about the software really quick, people install SteamOS on their handhelds because they open that up for SteamOS. So how do we feel about if Valve opened up their software so that it was compatible with any of the Quest devices, so someone could just load Steam's operating system on there?
So it's funny that you mentioned that, Nelly, because to that point to the question that you're asking and to the point that Clef was making, Meta had previously partnered with ASUS and Lenovo to have the variant of their Android operating system, which is called Horizon OS, on Lenovo and ASUS branded Quests, basically. Not to be confused with the Xbox Quest 3, which is realistically just a Quest 3S that's painted black, essentially. But we still haven't heard anything about it, those announcements were made over a year ago, which is to me more of a signal, and kind of in agreement with Clef, kind of in agreement with Clef, kind of in agreement with Clef about the frame being the kind of last hope for VR. But it's also that signal of, hey, they don't really care that much about VR because they've spent all this money on it already. And they're like, you know what? We're not getting our investment back. Let's just pull back. But remind people that we do have a Quest 4. We have a Puffin, and we have whatever the other Pismo in the, down the line, ready to go, or in the works. At the same time, it's like, if Valve did open it up, yeah, it would potentially change things up, I think, because going back to what you were saying about what Nelly, you and Zach were saying about having all these things come together, and the convenience of it. Here's something that I just thought, with all you talking about this, think about this. You have your Steam machine, right? And you're playing on the TV or whatever. But then, your family then wants to use the TV. You can boot up that same game. The same save state will be, pushed over, or you're using the foveated streaming to stream it into the Steam frame. This is essentially the PS Portal approach, but for your face, right? Now, you can do this with the Quest 3, but it's not obviously not heavily advertised because, to Clef's point, they have a Quest store and they want you to buy from the Meta store, right? Yeah, to me, going back to what Zach said, it makes so much sense if they want these things to release all simultaneously, especially if they can get you hooked in on this bundle and have you go at that all at once.
To your point, I don't think it's by mistake that they did such a great job at advertising that the frame will be able to play super well your PC games. Whether it is native or if it can't do native, it comes with a little dongle. Plug it in the machine.
You mean dongle, sir?
Oh, whatever that word is. Just put it in the machine. Clearly, they're leaning on that. They're leaning on the emotions that I was talking about and letting you know, to your point, the family is using the TV. It's okay. Put on the Steam frame. You got your dongle, dangle, whatever, in the Steam machine and just stream to your headset and enjoy. Have fun. Play your games. Always be tethered to, your library. It doesn't have to be VR. It's going to be great for everything else as well.
100%. So let's wrap this up in a little bit of a bow here. We had some previous targets, and rewatching that video, I think most of us were probably either a little more optimistic about the pricing before than we were 2 months ago. But seeing the entire landscape and market now, what's your estimate for each one of these products? Alex, can I start with you?
You really want to start with me? I have the most copium here.
Okay, fine. You can pass it on. You can hand it to Nelly. Zach does, Clef does that all the time if you want.
Wait, you have to say something. You have to say something. He was just giving you a pretend out. We're not letting you off the hook.
Okay, just for the audience to clarify.
First. No, I've learned my lesson with that.
Yeah. I was gonna say, dude.
He's not ready. He's not ready for this again.
Why should folks really be aligned with Android handhelds? I'm putting you on the spot. Yes.
Yes, you did. You did. I thought we were gonna go ladies first, but okay.
We did.
Oh, this is how we're getting started, Nelly. Okay. Regardless, at the end of the day, I'll say I'm still all in. I'm gonna buy the whole bundle no matter what. I'm kind of scared when I say that now, actually.
Gabe's all right, how many more yachts can I build now?
Okay, so I think are we pricing out each piece individually? Or are we talking about bundles? How
do you guys want? You're the guest here. You could choose.
All right. I'll talk about each part individually. I'll say easy controller 150. So easy 150 on the controller. I'll say frame 865, 16 gigs. I'll say 750, 800. I don't know. Clef, your face makes me doubt myself.
Wait, you're saying 750 for the machine?
For the frame. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, 750 for the frame.
Okay.
750 was my target on the base machine.
Okay.
But I'm no longer comfortable with that. I'll be honest. I'm no longer comfortable with that. I would say I'm not going to go as far as Clef, and I know Clef well. We talk a lot. I'll say base 900.
And bundle?
Any bundle pricing? Yeah.
So if it was all three together, so what did I say? 9. I'll just say 8 for the frame. So 1750, 1850. I would say they would do the bundle for. It's not going to be crazy, dude. Just being honest, right? I would say maybe 1600. 1599 because they like to keep the not say 16. So
it's that psyop. Yep. 1599.99. It's not $1,600, people.
No.
Alex, it is super close. Bundles probably 1700. The machine itself probably $999. Don't hit that $1,000 mark. Frame, probably about 8. And then the controller, I'm hoping they make a little more accessible. Maybe we hit 99, maybe 119. I think altogether probably about 16 or 1700.
Not doing the hand gestures this time. There you go. I don't know. All right.
I'm just gonna say this means something different to me than it does to most people, I think.
Save it for being unhinged.
I'll
After the
go.
show.
I know Clef wants to go last. I can feel it in him. He's like, I just want everybody to go, and then I'm going to come in with a hot take. 6 Steam Decks will be the bundle price.
Take Clef's fire. Take all his fire away. Like,
I mean, truthfully, Nelly, if we're talking about the base Steam Deck, which you can't buy anymore, that's like $1,800. So that's actually not that far.
I don't think it's that far. That's where I'm pegging it at, is 6 Steam Decks. I think that they had that as an Easter egg to preface how much you're going to be paying.
We're all coming very similar on price.
Yeah. They're like, do you want a $395 device? Or do you want this full bundle? That's what they're going for. So
you're saying the bundle price of 6 Steam Decks, which is like around $1,800? Yeah.
6 Steam Decks.
Okay. What about individual pricing?
$150 for the controller.
Okay.
$1,000 for the Steam machine, because eGPUs cost significantly. Like that piece alone costs quite a bit. So I think we're looking at $1,000 for that, and then what's that put me at? 900-ish for the actual interface. You might get 2 controllers with the bundle. I'm going to say you're going to get 2 controllers with the bundle so that you can play with a friend for those co-op games that they would love to sell you.
Gabe knows we don't have friends. Gabe knows.
Oof.
Yeah, I'd say 2. I'm going to say 2 controllers though with the bundle for 18. 6 Steam Decks.
Did you in fact want to go last, sir?
No. I'm happy to.
No, I can go. You can go last if you want.
Okay, sure.
It's up to you. Okay. Yeah, I will say a correction to what I had said like 2 months ago, because if you watch that episode from 2 months ago, yeah, you're like, wow, this guy is totally off his rocker. I thought he was supposed to be an AI. I thought he could read stock charts or whatever. No, this is completely wrong, clearly. I had made the optimistic guess of like $1,200 for like a bundle. For me personally, like that's a good price target, but I don't think that's realistic at all. Like given the current market, right? And I think it's much more realistic to look at something along the lines of what everyone else is saying here, around like 1,600 plus for a bundle of some kind. And I think Nelly's suggestion of 2 controllers also makes sense too. They're giving you something else rather than like just reducing the price. And they're also giving you something which is like, doesn't necessarily cost them that much, but then they can like justify maybe a slight increase in the price even, That said, even though Valve has never done it, to my knowledge, like I realistically see no reason why they can't have as part of their bundle some kind of $100 Steam gift card or something like that. I know people are going to feel a certain type of way about it, but remember, it's a digital storefront. So like it falls in line. It's not like they have brick and mortar stores. So for them to have like, let's say an $1,800 bundle with 2 controllers, and then they also give you a $100 Steam gift card makes sense to me. This is a very typical marketing practice.
I don't think that would hurt them at all.
Exactly. Especially if sales were slow. You know what I mean? Like, let's say we know they're not going to be slow, but let's say like on the uptick as pre-orders roll out, it's like, hey, these are not flying off as much as we want. Okay, well, let's make this quick announcement for pre-orders for the next 3 months are going to have $100 Steam gift card. That literally costs them nothing. They're operating their storefront anyway. Like it costs them nothing, so like to that point, I think if we're looking at something like that bundle, personally, I don't think the Steam frame I think the Steam frame and the Steam machine need to come in at a similar price. Truthfully, I think that it needs to be something like $899 for each. And I'm only realistically basing that on what they said about the Steam frame being around the index pricing. But at the same time, I personally think if the Steam machine is $899, we're all PC enthusiast people. I kind of feel like that thing by itself is dead in the water. Like it's too much, especially because of its distribution method. We know Valve is the only one that ships these because they can't, you're not going to have grandma walking through Walmart going and buying one of these Steam machines. Like that is a detriment to them. At the same time, even though like I just kind of gave them this strategy of including a gift card, they could totally still do that and, make up that end of the market. basically all I'm trying to say with this is I think it's bad that we still haven't gotten pricing on it and or even a release date. And I think that, yeah, they are struggling with RAM like everybody else. Who knows? Worst case scenario, we might even see a bring your own RAM Steam machine. Like, I mean, if everybody else is doing it, that's all I'm saying.
We're just going to go through our old collections and be like, what do we got? What's flying around?
Yep.
It sucks that like not releasing pricing until the last moment has become like the industry standard. While you were talking, I would say like just before Clef, I know you wanna take your hot take. I think that I agree with GG. Like in the beginning, I was hoping for like a $1,200 bundle. Like that would have been amazing, absolutely amazing. I also too, while he was talking and saying like a $1,700-$1,800 bundle with 2 controllers and $100 gift card, I was thinking to myself like, what if they made maybe one controller, the machine, the headset, and an actual Steam Deck for $2,000, like a $2,000 bundle.
No, nobody wants that.
Nobody. Well, I know you don't.
Nelly doesn't want.
I know you don't want that bundle. But like, there's nothing saying that they couldn't do multiple bundles, like different tiered bundles.
True.
So I mean, I know you, Nelly. I know you don't want it. All right, but sorry. Go ahead, Clef. Like, I'm curious to know because you always shock me.
2 things to address. Number one, if my Big Macs, because I'm McDonald's, go from $5.99 to $6.99. I'm certainly not going to tell you my fries go from $3 to $2.50. That makes no sense. When a market goes up, everything goes up. That's just the logic of it. I did say before $150 for the controller, but I don't think it's $150 anymore. I think we're aiming for $169. Again, it's just logical. Prices are going up. You gotta take an opportunity and raise your prices. That's just the name of the game. No gift cards, okay? Anyone in viewers, don't think that's gonna happen. No gift cards. That is the opposite of the goal of a business, because if you sell something, you have your cost, you have your profit, right? And you can shave off of your profit and at least cover your cost. But if you're giving gift card, you're not making profit. You are paying somebody else, because let's not forget, if they give you $100 to spend, they still have to pay the people from the game you buy. They're not going to do that. That's expensive. So if they sell 1 million units,
minus 30% though.
Minus 30%, but there's still a 70%. That's still $70 that they have to give. If they sell 1 million units, that's 1 million times $70. That's a lot of money. They're not going to do that. They're not going to do that. So controller 170. Steam frame, because I firmly believe they need to penetrate that market to take that market for them, and it's a make or break, so they can't fumble that one. Like, they really have to land the plane. So $799, which I think is extremely aggressive considering what is in there in the market right now. And I know a lot of people were hoping for $500. No, $799 I think is a great price for a Steam frame. Because let's not forget, you have all the tech from the Knuckles. Yeah, that's a pretty tech-dense setup that they got going. And for the Steam machine, I'm going to say $1099. $1,099. I would want to agree with the $999 just because of the psychology behind it. But at the same time, we are in a market where people expect things to be expensive, expect to pay. So again, you have to capitalize on that. It sucks, but that's the name of the game, and it's not like it's going to be cheap. They already said right off the bat that was not the kind of thing. They were not, literally, they said like day one, there were already people saying, Valve has said in private settings that they were not going to employ the console system where you sell at a loss or very low profit. No, they're selling that to make at least some profit. So $1,099, which brings it to approximately 2050, like a little more than that, 2070. I'd say bundle, if you take all 3 SKUs, 1950. With the bundle, you are below that 2000 psychology, and I think 1950 for the bundle.
You're brutal,
if they do a bundle.
You're brutal.
With one controller,
brutal,
just one?
I would like for them to give a second controller. If anything, I think 1950 with one, or maybe the other bundle would be 2050, which is hardly anything at all, but they give you two controllers. Because that is a great scheme, cut into your profit, but you absorb the cost, etc., etc. So,
and let me guess, they will give you a special bundle with a shiny yellow sticker that says Cyberpunk on it for $20.77. Yeah, I know Nelly would buy that, especially if it doesn't include a Steam Deck. Yeah,
don't give them those ideas.
Don't give them the idea. Oops, sorry.
We'll definitely have limited edition down the road.
So before we take a break and we move on, I do want to talk really quickly about the Steam Deck, Nelly's favorite console of all time. Do we think though that like the value of this thing is actually going to hold steady given the market and given everything? Like, Valve was probably, if we're going to speculate, Valve was probably losing money or not making enough of a profit on the base LCD Steam Deck, which is why they got rid of the SKU. And now you can only get, I believe like refurb units, or those are usually sold out, and the Steam Deck OLED, right? So for the people that have a Steam Deck OLED, like they're already invested in that market, and surely Valve wants those people to be buying a Steam machine, possibly a Steam frame, right? So like, what do you think? Like, if you have any piece of advice for someone who has a Steam Deck right now, maybe I won't go to Nelly first for this. Like, what should they be doing with it if they want one of these, like, new Steam products? Like, what do you think, Clef?
What should they do with their Steam Deck? And they're looking, keep it.
Yeah,
keep it.
Do you think
Yeah. Why would you not keep it? Like, clearly, Valve is kind of taking a page off of Apple's book when it comes to just the capability with which your devices will interact with one another, and again, all based off of software. But you can bet that, I mean, it's already the case, right? Valve interfaces easily with your phone, easily with your tablets, with other computers that you may have. They're on Mac, they're everywhere. Of course, of all things, their own devices will interface super easy. They already do it through software, so there's no reason. So yeah, I think the Steam Deck is going to be a great machine. And there used to be a time when I was like, yo, remote play kind of sucks. Next to Game Stream, which of course now we talk about Moonlight, but back in the day it was Game Stream directly from NVIDIA. It used to be really bad. It's got so good. Like, remote play works really well. It's seamless. It gives you important information on the fly when you need it, or it's completely invisible when you don't. It's really a great software. So no, keep it for sure. Don't sell that. Don't sell that.
And especially in the context of already having a Steam Deck, and even if that Steam machine comes in at a price of $1,100, like, yeah, it's like a mediocre, like, entry to mid-level, like, PC hardware-wise. It's still most likely going to be a pretty great experience. At least it definitely supercharges your pre-existing Steam Deck when you use Steam Link, right? I know Zach is all about that, though. The local remote play. Like, what do you think? What's your advice for Steam Deck people, for Steam Deck gang? Watch out very carefully, because they're sharpening their knives and their pitchforks as you respond.
I mean, especially if it's one of those that are about to sharpen their pitchforks. I mean, if you really don't want to replace it, like that is your thing, and you're waiting for the rest of this ecosystem to come in and make things better. I mean, remote play options. I mean, even if you have nothing, I mean, GeForce Now just was like 8 or 9 months ago. I mean, got support for Steam Deck, so I mean, that could tide you over for a little bit for sure, as long as you got good internet. So if you're like dead set, Steam, Valve hardware is all my thing, I don't want to buy anything else, that's about probably the best thing you can do to get the most out of your hardware. That, or just, lower your expectations and keep playing games on low and playing older games. I mean, there's still plenty of older games out there, so it's not like they're going away anytime soon.
What do you think, Alex? Because I know you were looking for a Steam Deck OLED recently. I mean, for content purposes, to be clear.
Bag too fast here. So I was gonna say super biasedly, what I think they should do is sell one to me first of all.
No, so give one to you, right? Give one to you.
I'm not that crazy. Money's money, right? Like, sell one to me. I'll buy it happily. I'm not buying it for Valve prices. This is secondhand. Honestly, I agree with Clef on this one, actually. Like, if you have a Steam Deck, keep it, dude. They're going to mesh well together. If you have intentions on buying the rest of the ecosystem, keep it. And on the other hand, I agree with, who was it? Matt Davis, sell it and buy a Windows handheld. Like, sell it, buy a Windows handheld, because like, and granted, like, I'm going to use an example that's pretty pricey in comparison to a Steam Deck. Like, you get a $395 machine and connect that frame to it, like, you're going to have a blast. Like, and that thing, I'm sure a $395 machine is like dancing all over the Steam machine, like in power and performance.
It is.
Like 395's 8060S outpaces the 7600 by a long shot. So, and the CPU in this thing is an absolute monster. 16 cores, 32 threads, absolute monster. But I mean, if not, there's plenty of other. For me personally, I need a Steam Deck just for comparisons, because I think it's the thing that everybody compares what's new to. But other than that, if I was actually wanting to play on SteamOS, I'd probably get a Legion Go S, or like wait for that Legion Go 2 with SteamOS, something like that. Something a little bit more performant. I don't like to be. I get it. A lot of the Steam guys, they're like, hey, well, I'll play what I can play, and what I don't. I've been amazed by the amount of performance they've been able to get out of games like Cyberpunk and some of these heavier SKUs. But I would honestly, like, if it was me, I would probably sell it and go to another SteamOS handheld if I just wanted to remain in that ecosystem. There's options now. Also, too, even on the Windows side, Valve is supporting like the original Z1 Extreme Ally, the original Z1 Extreme Lenovo Legion Go. Like, even I think that's a nice upgrade to that. And most of the time, honestly, like, if you have an OLED, you could probably sell that and still come out on top buying a Z1 Extreme Ally or Legion Go 1. So that's the route I would go. It's just, you get a little bit more performance, you stay within the ecosystem, and yeah. And then Too Loud gets a Steam Deck.
Good take. Yeah, I think that's sound advice. But I have to turn it over to the spiciest take, and I saved you last on purpose. Don't worry, you could say whatever you want, because I'm pretty sure all of the, I'm pretty sure all of the sites and targets are on Trevor. Say whatever you want.
Okay. Well, first, Steam Deck, I wouldn't recommend buying one. I would recommend selling it. If you have one, and buying a better Windows device like the Legion Go S, or something that's like you can get on sale, because the Legion Go S was $500 US-ish when there's an open box sale. And if you can pick one of those up for that price, that's going to be way better with the amount of RAM, with having that 1200p screen, that higher refresh rate. Now, the other piece with the Steam machine and tying it into that, so if you do have one and you don't want to get rid of it, if they have a way to connect it that's not like heavy latency, whether it's like a dongle type situation, like what they're doing with the frame, but you insert it into the USB-C and you're instant connected on your line direct to the machine, like that would be more appealing, because it would be like a PS Portal, but without any of the dropping. Because like I have a PS Portal. I used to play it, and I know it's gotten better now, and especially if you're connecting right to games like from, like, instead of your actual PS5, but it used to drop. I'd be like in Spider-Man 2, and I'm literally going through important action sequences, and it drops. And then I'm like, like run to the room wherever my PS5 is, turn on the TV and try to like pause the game or whatever, right? Because there's that delay in there. And you don't want to do that when there's those moments with your games. You don't want to trust that link is going to be there. But if you've got like a direct link, that's a little more appetizing. But even then, your resolution on that screen is not great. Your refresh rate's all right. Like it's not ideal. I mean, if you were connected to the Steam machine, you could max out settings on pretty much any game on that display, if that's appealing to anyone. Not 4K, because you're not going to get that with the 7600 MXT, but you can definitely push performance. And having it like a wireless eGPU is kind of interesting, as long as the connection is good.
Fair points. Just to clarify for the audience, in case you are planning to sell your Steam Deck to Too Loud, or you're planning to toss it out and with the trash or whatever, I mean, it should be a reasonable.
In the trash.
It should be a reasonable experience if you have something to connect to it. Steam Link is actually pretty low overhead these days. Steam Link with the use of like Quest 3 actually has pretty low latency. I mean, we're talking in the realm of like 10 to 20 milliseconds, and both the MetaQuest 3 and the Steam Deck OLED, I believe they have Wi-Fi 6E. So, as long as you have a decent like local connection, it should be pretty worthwhile. Like competitive game might be a little bit more challenging for you, but to Nelly's point, you are locked for the Steam Deck OLED at 90 hertz or 90 FPS. But, and I know Clef will back me up on this, you could plug in one of those XR glasses back there, get yourself some 120 hertz, 120 FPS, and get an even nicer OLED screen there.
XR glasses, but also don't forget, Steam Deck is the only device with Neptune. So if you want those native controller drivers from Steam, you're not getting it anywhere else. I think that's a pretty major deal, especially if you're going to lean on PC titles, where a lot of them are like almost only playable on Steam Deck because you have those touchpads. Thought I'd point it out.
You like those touchpads too, right?
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I spit on them sometimes. Yeah.
Whoa! Save that. Save that for
Like
after the show. Oh, my bad.
Past the 1 hour mark, at least I'll say that.
Yeah. Which, by the way, if you want to see some real unhinged takes, you stay for the after show, and also you hop on Discord and you leave us a comment below if you found any of this useful, any of this entertaining, and if you didn't like it, well, take a page out of Sujano, hit the like button anyway. Okay. All right. So let's talk now a little bit about some more doom and gloom, just a tad, right? Alex was talking earlier in the show about Medusa Halo and Gorgon Halo, which are the next advancements, and we touched upon this very briefly in a previous Speedcast about like the next 395, right? So presumably it would be called like 495, it would be called 595, okay?
That's if they didn't want to mess with us.
Correct. And to Zach's point, though, they will probably give us, they'll give us a new decoder ring, and then it'll be made obsolete like the next year or the next 6 months or whatever, right?
We still got at least a couple generations before that, though. They'll ride this until it gets into we'll probably get to 995, and then it'll be like, now we got to do a whole new thing. We don't want to do 4 digits.
Right. No, that makes sense. Okay. So in kind of keeping in the back of your mind all that we talked about with Steam Deck and Steam, all that new Steam hardware, and the pricing not going to be in our favor, at least. I mean, what are we thinking when we see news like this? I don't know if any of you got wind of this news here. They're saying Medusa Halo, Ryzen AI Max 500, which is currently in the rumored pipeline of 2027, is going to have LPDDR6, which can have, I think the thing says a little bit more than 30% of the rated speeds or bandwidth. And you can see some of this here. What do we think? There's no way that this is gonna be affordable, right? There's no way.
Not at this rate.
I think it's going to be expensive, but I think that the faster RAM is going to give us better GPU performance.
Yes, but is it going to be worth it? Because we're talking about things that'll be well north of $2,000. I'm pretty sure, maybe like north of $3,000, probably starting price even, right? I mean, mind you, though, the laptops and laptop GPUs and desktop GPUs will probably not stay in relative price either. Those will likely go up as well.
Yeah, I think worth it is subjective. I think it just really depends on if you're broke. Just kidding. I was just pulling the Nelly.
I know.
No, honestly, I think it's subjective, right? It just depends on who you are and what you want. Is this your only machine? Is this going to be your workhorse, your gaming machine, your everything? Are you a content creator and you circle between devices? Do you need the latest and greatest? Are you an indie gamer? Are you a brand new AAA gamer? Do you need portability? I think there's a lot to it, right? It's very, very subjective. I think, yeah, at the end of the day, there's no question about it's going to be extremely expensive. Like I wouldn't I wouldn't be surprised if by the time that comes around we're looking at a $3,000 Z13, instead of a $2,000 Z13.
You all feel the same way, or do you think that's
not.
conservative? I feel like that might be conservative even.
I mean, I have, I'd say a take that is very different.
Yeah, let's hear it.
So I question, okay, actually, I'll start with this little story. Many, many years ago, you had AMD put a backpack and go on a journey, come to Canada, and be like, yo, ATI, we're buying you, bro. And they did. And then they went back and made that APU. It's cheap, it's affordable. You got a CPU, a GPU on one node. It's awesome, and it's super good for your wallet. Look, when you think of Max 395 and Max 385, to me, we've landed. It's time to milk him. It's been long enough. From what we hear, it was kind of a failure. They didn't really sell as good as they thought they were going to. My hot take is we have rumors now, but I think what will happen with 388 and 392 could have AMD change their course. Maybe adjust and adapt based off of, can they actually make those chips successful, or do they need to move to something else? Whether it is lower the specs and have something that is more affordable, which arguably is kind of what the market is asking for right now, because these things are getting just so expensive. I don't know, man. I'm seeing this, and 2027, I actually think if we do get something like that in 2027, it's going to be very, very late in 2027. I still think it's kind of too early to confirm that we'll ever have those chips from AMD. I truly believe that right now they need to determine what they're going to do, because they need to make it successful. So what does that look like? Is it doing the same thing that seemingly hasn't worked, increasing the price and trade of, and benefit of performance? I don't know, man, because that's exactly what they did with 395 and 385, and that hasn't worked.
I feel like you're onto something, and this is exactly what their angle is, or what they're playing at when they're going to release the 392 and 388, which are surely just cut down Strix Halo with their cut down 395 to increase their yield. So for those of you who don't smoke the same stuff that me and Jeeve do when it comes to the silicon architecture itself and the nitty gritty of it. Yield, meaning that when they make their chips out of the silicon wafers, can only be so large. They can only get so many of these chips if the die size is a certain size and it needs to be perfect, right? But when it comes to the chips that are lower numbered, they might have some imperfections and things like that on there, so that they don't have to hit that exact, specification. But in doing so, they can also save some money, because they can fuse off some cores, they can reprice it to whatever they think is reasonable, in order to price themselves in a spot that they like, right? Yeah, I don't know. The one thing I think that is important to worth note here, which is going back to what Alex was alluding to earlier, and FSR4, we'll talk about this in just a moment. If you notice here, our next refresh of the 395, which will be likely the 495, 490, 498, 488, and so on, is still RDNA 3.5, which is not officially supporting of FSR4, FSR Redstone, which uses the machine learning generated frames, meaning fake frames that are generated using AI algorithms. That's why the fancy frame generation is typically supported by DLSS and NVIDIA, because they use their fancy, AI to do that. Whereas the other frame generation, FSR3 frame generation, doesn't use that. But so the important thing here to note here is that what this rumor is with this 500 series, AI Max 500 series, codenamed Medusa, or Medusa Halo, is listed as RDNA 5. And personally, I think if it's going to be RDNA 5 and it's going to be LPDDR6, that's going to be one pricey boy. Really pricey. I would wager that they might even try to go double the price of Strix Halo Do I think that they're going to get away with that? Oh Lord, I hope not. But do I think they're going to try? You bet your ayaneo ass I think they will. Thanks for listening to my TED Talk. I mean, do you want to talk about FSR now for a moment?
I mean, let's be fair really quick, right? Like, the reason why they're producing the 388 and the 392 is because, most of the devices that these chipsets are coming in are targeted toward gaming, right? And we don't need 16 cores, 32 threads. This next Medusa Halo, 24 cores, 48 threads. Like, we don't need that. 8 cores, 16 threads is more than enough for what we do. And on the gaming side, most games can't even push that high of multi-core. So I think, like, as long as we're keeping the GPU performance, we'll probably see another Medusa Halo refresh like we're seeing here with the Strix Halo, where we get something with less cores, less threads, and keeping the GPU. I think, they're doing this now with the 388 and the 392, and maybe it's my copium, but I think these devices are going to be a lot less money, the 388 and the 392 devices. I believe they're going to come. There's like, I don't see a world where they could come in with a 388, with half the cores and half the threads and charge the same price as a 395 device. That wouldn't make sense, right? Like, who's rushing out to buy that when they could just buy a 395 device?
No, but it's different now. Because
is this the same pile of copium that you got with like the Steam frame and Steam Machine? I'm just curious. Like, is it the same pile or is it a new pile?
No, it's a different pile. I have multiple. It depends on which pocket I go in. Like
multiple tanks of copium. Yeah.
Yeah. Different variants.
It is very different now. Like the big players could not launch that thing in the stratosphere, so they lean into boutiques and they'll lean on social media. We'll push those stats. We'll push those numbers. We'll do the dirty job for AMD. And then people are going to be like, yo, I want my share of that performance, but there's no more 395. There's no more 385. What are you going to do now that you want it?
The 385 doesn't stack up to the 388 or the 392, right? It has the 8050S, where these have the 8060S as far as GPU go.
Oh, see, I thought the 388 had the 8050.
8060S.
Okay, so even better. I didn't know that. But yeah, my point still remains. I really believe that we're not going to have that much of a discount. And on top of that, it so happens to be like they have this easy excuse. It's right there for them. Oh, but well, the market increased. If it didn't, it would have been less, but it did. So
yeah, the 385 is like the price.
RAM, so.
Like 385 is basically the price of a 395 right now at the starting price, like for the next two, right? Basically. So how far off is it to think that the price of this stuff is going to be the same as the 395 was?
Yep.
I can't say too much, based on, what I got.
You got insider knowledge
from C.
You can't say too much.
I do have insider knowledge, to be fair.
That happened before the whole price hike.
No, it happened in January.
Oh, okay then.
So I do have insider knowledge based on pricing for the 388 and 392s with a certain company that I work with, and they're saying that it's gonna come in for a good amount cheaper than 395 devices.
If they've secured some chips ahead of time, sure, maybe for a little bit, but not for very long.
I mean, that's more than possible too, right?
Why would they? Even if they have if they have the chip, good for them, dude. Are we thinking they're our friends here? Like, we have guys in suit
that are like, make it rain.
Yeah, like the market is as inflated. Why in their right mind would they be like, nah, come on, let's be nice to the people?
No, the thing with the 388 and the 392 dies is that they're essentially 395 dies that were not capable of putting out the performance that a 395 is. So they're binned dies, right? Like they're not
they have feelings too.
Dies.
Okay. I'll use your words, your exact words. They're marketed for gamers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So who cares that we have less cores? To your point, you're right. A lot of those games cannot even take advantage of that, but that GPU. So they know their market. They know who they're selling this to. This will not be that much cheaper. If it is,
can we get an edit in? Can we get an edit and post like of like, you know, AMD or whoever it is, like a face over like the clip from a Survivor show or whatever? Like, I'm not here to make friends.
I am here to make money. I do not care about these people.
Pricing depends on competitors, right? Like if Intel can really do something with this Panther Lake and cause, because you remember there was a time where AMD was the bargain, like Clef said, right? Like they acquired ATI, they created these APUs. Dude, everybody was still on Intel. It was still Intel. You know, and Intel was the top of the stack. You know, you wanted the best performing chip, you're going Intel. You know, and AMD had to make sacrifices and they had to undercut Intel. And right now we see Intel doing that on the opposite side now, right? AMD's kind of climbed the ladder and now Intel's trying to get back there. If Intel can do something with Panther Lake and get it to where it is at least competing at a great price with Strix Halo and with Medusa Halo coming up, then maybe we will see some fluctuation in price on AMD side because they won't be able to charge as much as they will when their competitor is giving us something that is comparable for a lower price.
That is so fair. You are so right. But to think that this will happen within the span of one SKU is impossible. And AMD are not doing bad. That's the other thing. Like, it's not like
I would say it's 2 SKUs, right? I would say it's 2 SKUs because 395 is last year. Right,
so no, but I'm saying Panther Lake. I'm saying Intel to overtake AMD is one SKU, or rather one generation. Let's say that one generation. Okay. It's not happening, and it's not like you want the graph to like go like this. Not gonna happen. It's not like AMD is.
I know that's a big push, right? Like for them to straight cross line. Like I'm not saying that. I'm saying like as long as they can edge up close to them and offer it for a better price, like it will cause them to consider what they're doing as far as pricing.
No.
You don't think so?
No.
So you think like as long as they just have an edge, no matter what,
AMD
as small as the edge is,
they have the monopoly on the PC handheld. Why would they course correct for Intel to finally show up? It's not even like Intel have been doing good. They were basically nowhere to be seen. You know, like their chips were not doing good. Their devices are not doing good. Why would AMD be like, oh snap, Intel is there, we need to drop our prices? No. If the like generation
you guys are singing
happens,
a different song, like I felt like Black Panther, like all this stuff. And
we're excited for it.
Yeah, we're excited.
It's all about price. It's all about pricing.
Price, yeah.
We're excited for it, but that exercise that we talked about, if you go to bestbuy.com,
I don't root for Intel at all. Like zero. Like none.
You should.
Yeah.
You should.
Yeah,
it's all about price.
No,
yeah, it's
I
all
want
about
it for
consumer.
competition. I want it for consumers. Yes, I want it for consumers for competition. But I've been Team Red for 15 years. Like,
and they know that. That's why they're charging you the prices that.
That's why they give you inside information because they trust you.
Yeah, what a mistake that was. All right, but speaking of more mistakes and maybe speaking of edging, I don't know what kind of edging Alex is talking about, but I think this is as good a time as any to invite you all to our Discord, invite you all to stick around for the after show. And if you're somehow catching this on the replay, well, I'm sorry, but you missed out. Once again, join us on Discord. Check out our Patreon. None of that stuff is paid. You can go and check it out, but we can't leave that stuff on this platform because it's going to get us in trouble, or at very least, probably demonetize. With that, that's our Speedcast. Thanks for joining us. We're going to shift over to our after show now. Thanks for all of your expertise, everyone.